saw something in me that I hadn't quite yet fully identified in myself. That was my first taste of leadership.
Can I also just pause on that?
Sure.
I think you were made not probably the first Muslim captain, but you were made on your merit.
Yeah. Yeah, I'd like to think so.
Yeah.
Yeah. Elected on merit and just happened to be
Muslim.
Non-Christian and Muslim.
And woman.
Yeah. So that really, when I look back now, 40 plus years later, that really helped to shape me. Mm-hmm. It helped me to step into my potential that later became, I guess, my power. So then I went on to university and I studied a couple of degrees. I did an arts degree, I did a law degree. I worked for a number of years here in Australia, mainly as a criminal lawyer and a human rights lawyer. So I worked with some incredible communities that taught me so much about life and humanity. I worked with regional, remote, Indigenous communities, asylum seekers, refugees, victims of family and domestic violence, people that had become addicts and homeless due to extreme circumstances that had unfolded in their lives. And all the while, as I'm practicing law, after a few years there was this voice in my head that started getting louder that I couldn't ignore anymore. And I realised that eventually that this was the voice of my calling me to even higher duties. Mm-hmm. So eventually I would listen to this voice that wasn't going to quieten unless I did. And in the late 1990s, I left Australia and I went to the UK. And the plan was to do my postgraduate studies and to requalify and work as a Crown Advocate or a Solicitor Advocate or a barrister in the UK, and hopefully to carve my career into where I felt that I was being called, which was the area of humanitarian law. Mm-hmm. So that was the plan. After a number of years in the UK, I had finished my postgraduate studies. I was working in a big firm to pay the bills. I was volunteering at 2 human rights agencies, but I was getting frustrated and a bit disillusioned because I wasn't anywhere closer to accessing and serving and advocating for the people that I felt I was destined to help. Mm-hmm. And so I decided to have a bit of a circuit breaker. And I took 6 months leave of absence from my job and I volunteered for and was lucky enough to be selected to go on a community aid expedition to South America. Mm-hmm. So I spent several months in South America and that changed the course of my future.